So the creative process then is an investment in your future. If you're not waking up in the morning and being a creator, then more than likely you're going to be a victim to your life, right? So how do you believe in that future more than you believe in your past? You got to open that heart of yours, and that emotion that you feel has you feel connected to that future, right? You can't believe in that future if you're feeling the emotion of the past. You'll believe in your past more, right?
So the implications of the ability to self-regulate our own biology, they run deep in terms of divinity. Those are the ability to heal our own bodies. That is a godlike ability that the ancients talked about in the literature. We have it at our fingertips. We've been conditioned away from it, led to feel helpless and powerless, that we need intervention.
Have you ever been caught off guard by change, feeling unprepared and wondering, why now? That moment of surprise often leads to stress, frustration, and even anger. However, as Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches, change is a natural and inevitable part of life. It often stirs feelings of fear and resistance, but understanding the root of that fear can help us face change with clarity instead of avoidance. The habits we form, the thoughts we entertain, and our reactions create patterns that either propel us forward or keep us stuck. These patterns often work quietly in the background, shaping our choices and limiting our potential. Recognizing these patterns is the key to breaking free from them, empowering us to take control of our mindset and rewrite the story that no longer serves us. As Dr. Joe Dispenza emphasizes, true transformation begins with taking control of your mindset rather than waiting for the perfect moment or relying on external motivation. The power to change lies within your ability to choose to act consciously. Neuroplasticity research shows that our brains can adapt and form new neural pathways, which means we can break free from old habits and create new, empowering ones. The path to change may not always be straightforward and setbacks will happen, but staying committed to the process is key.
The problem is that we reach a point in our life in the plane of demonstration, the plane of doing, where we realize that we have to do a lot of things to get what we want. In other words, you have a thought that you want a new career or a new relationship or a new, you want to be abundant or you want to be healthy or in shape or whatever it is, and you become aware that you're Andre, local in space and time, and then you think about your dream or your vision, and our mind automatically calculates and predicts how long it's going to take for that to happen. And so here's one point of consciousness, then the future is the other point of consciousness, and the separation between 2 points of consciousness in three-dimensional reality creates time. So in order for me to get that thing, I may have to work harder, I may have to sacrifice and save money, I may have to cheat, I may have to compete, I may have to steal, I may take on a second job, whatever it is, borrow money to have that experience, right? So it takes time and energy to finally arrive at that event. Now, when the event occurs, the emotion from that event takes away the lack or separation from not having it. That's the prize in three-dimensional reality. But some people spend their whole life dreaming in lack and never actually realizing their goals, right? So they're waiting for their wealth to occur to feel abundant. They're waiting for their new relationship to feel love. They're waiting for their healing to feel gratitude and wholeness. They're waiting for the mystical moment to feel awe. They're waiting for their success to feel empowered. They're waiting for something to change in their outer environment to take away the lack or separation from not having it in their inner environment. So for the most part, they're living by cause and effect. So what do when you're matter trying to change matter? You work harder. You try harder, you force, you control, you manipulate. That's what matter does when it's trying to change matter. And so we're rushing constantly in separation for the experience that produces the emotion or the feeling that takes it away, okay? And you can get really good at doing this. You can get really good. You could get trained, you could take courses, you can get coached, you can learn from your mistakes, you could have great parents, whatever it is, you could develop really good habits. And sooner or later, you get better at doing it in a shorter amount of time. Well, that's great. That's really cool. My interest is to teach people, well, gosh, can I actually go to a place where I am a creator? Can I really think about with a clear intention what that future looks like? Could I train and teach my body emotionally what that future feels like before it happens? Now, that goes against a lot of hypnosis. That goes against a lot of programming. because the programming says you need this thing in your outer world to take away the feeling of even drugs, to take away the pain or whatever it is, right? So we've become very dependent on the outer world to change our inner world. And all I'm saying is it's possible then if you can teach people how to be creators in their life and change the way they think and change the way they feel and feel the emotions of their future before it happens. The cool part of that is that when you're feeling the emotion of your future before it happens, you're not looking for it any longer. Why would you look for it if it feels like it already happened? So then when the synchronicities, when the coincidences, when the serendipities, when the opportunities start showing up in a person's life because they're changing the way they think, the way they act, and the way they feel, they get more involved in the creative process. They're saying, I actually am creating this. Get really good at it and learn how to be a creator in the present moment, in the unknown. Create from the field instead of from matter, instead of three-dimensional reality. If it's not matter that's creating the field, but the field that's creating matter, if I could change the information in the field, can I change the hologram or the slowing down of frequency into matter? And could I shorten the distance between the thought of what I want and the experience of having it if I create from the field instead of from matter? Now that's a whole new experiment, right? Because we got to get retrained. We got reconditioned. We got to change a lot of beliefs about that. We got to explain what that field is. We got to teach people how to get beyond themselves and take all of their attention off their body, off of all the elements in their environment, and not think about the predictable future or the familiar past, to disinvest all of their attention, all of their awareness, all of their energy off the particle, off of matter, off of the physical three-dimensional world. And if it's particle and wave, put all your attention on that wave function. And that wave function, there's nothing physical or material there, so it's nothing. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's energy and frequency. If you have a person pay more attention to that nothing and teach them that it's rich in frequency and energy, to feel it, to experience it, to relax into it, to become more of it and less of them, somehow there is this dramatic change in the information in a person's biology. So then when you create from wholeness instead of lack and separation, and you teach people how to do that, I think you see it not only effects in their biology, but ultimately effects in their life. When I plug myself into three-dimensional reality, my receptors that plug me into three-dimensional reality, what's getting information from the outer environment are my senses. So what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm smelling, what I'm tasting, what I'm feeling, all my five senses plug me into this three-dimensional world. And it's a lot of information for the brain to integrate. The brain's job is to create meaning between what's going on out there and what's going on in here, right? So then when we're paying attention to all the elements in our environment and we're awake, the brain kind of beats in this wavelength that's called beta brainwave states. And we're in beta right now. We're relaxed, we're present, we're paying attention to each other. There's no threat, there's no danger around. We can learn. We can gain information from the environment when you're present and paying attention. All right, if I said to you, oh, Andre, we decided that we're going to give you a test to take. At the end here, it's going to be 100 questions, and we're going to show your viewers if you passed or not, right? Your brain would kind of perk up a little bit more. You get a little bit more aroused, and you'd be like, okay, I'm going to lean in now, and I got to really pay attention. So that when the light bulb gets a little bit brighter, you move into mid-range beta. And like, that's a good state to be in. Like if you're getting ready for a podcast, you're going to deliver a lecture, you're going to see somebody you haven't seen the first time or meet somebody new, whatever it is, you're a little bit more alert, right? When you're angry, when you're fearful, when you're in pain, when you're judgmental, when you're frustrated, resentful, whatever that is, your brainwaves move into that aroused high beta brainwave state. And that arousal is stepping on the gas really hard. And when we go into the high beta brainwave states, most of our attention, because of the arousal, is on our body. Like, wow, I feel really physical. I feel like matter. I feel like my body. I am my body. The arousal of those chemicals causes but all of our attention on the outer environment. What's the environment made of? Bodies and people and objects and things and places. So now more of our attention is going on the outer world. And when you're being chased by T-Rex and you got to go from one point of consciousness where you are to the cave, another point of consciousness, you're thinking about time. And you're trying to collapse as much time as you can by increasing your speed, right? So the brain always is forecasting the future when it's aroused by these chemicals. So high beta means it's very high frequency, pay a lot of attention. And now if stress is created from not being able to control something, not be able to predict it, or the perception that something in your environment is going to get worse, the arousal of those hormones causes us to be uncertain. We're in the unknown, and we begin to think about all the people and objects and places that are known to us in our life. And the neocortex is a reflection of everything known in our outer environment. It's the autobiographical self.
Are you overwhelmed by stress at work, feeling like the weight of your responsibilities is too much to handle? Stress at work is a common issue many face, whether caused by heavy workloads, tight deadlines, or the constant pressure to perform. Over time, this stress can build up, impacting your productivity and overall well-being. It can manifest in many ways, from physical symptoms like headaches and muscle tension to mental exhaustion and feelings of being stuck. Work-related stress can even affect our relationships and quality of life, as the pressure to constantly perform leaves little room for relaxation or personal time. Gregg Braden, a renowned author and speaker, emphasizes the importance of understanding the connection between our emotions and the body's physical response to stress. According to Braden, the energy we carry within us can affect our overall health and well-being. He highlights that when we are stressed, our body releases chemicals like cortisol, which can weaken our immune system and increase inflammation over time. To manage work stress, Braden suggests embracing mindfulness, meditation, and breathing exercises, which can help reset the nervous system and shift our focus away from stress. These practices allow us to release built-up tension, regain control of our thoughts, and create a sense of calm amidst chaos.
The science that really bore this out, there were a series of scans, brain scans. We're getting really good at brain scans now, real time. And there was a classic example. I show this in our live events, where they'll do the top, left, and right, front, and back scans of the brain of an individual, same individual that is having an experience, and you can see the parts of the brain that light up during that experience. So the classic scan is the individual is physically reaching with their hand for a cup, a glass, and there's parts of the brains that light up. Everybody knows that, no big deal, no surprise. Then the next one, the second scan, is that same individual is watching another person reach for a cup. They're not doing it themselves. The mirror neurons, the Cubelli neurons, and for anybody that's not familiar, Cubelli neurons are neurons that fire when we have an experience and when we witness the experience. All right, so when they witness someone else lifting a cup, those neurons are firing off. This is why we can sit on the couch on a Sunday afternoon, watch a soccer game. Our heart's racing, maybe we're perspiring, we're excited, but we're not even moving. But our mirror neurons don't know the difference between witnessing the experience and having the experience on that level. Here's where it gets really important, is the third scan showed the same individual not reaching, not watching someone else reach, but imagining, visualizing that they were reaching for the cup. Same parts of the brain light up. The reason this is important, and this is what you asked, is because the visualization can be with our eyes or it can be in our mind. And the way we think of ourselves and the way we see ourselves in the world is constantly feeding those mirror neurons. We are programmed through media to feel sick, to feel we are lacking and flawed and that we need something outside of our bodies. I don't even have a TV at home, but when I'm in a hotel, if I turn on the hotel TV, every commercial is a pharmaceutical commercial. I've always had this strong soul compass. And I was reading the books that were available on spirituality because in ancient civilizations, I began reading not long after that books by a man named David Hatcher Childress, who was hitchhiking across the world looking at ancient civilizations. And now he's my friend. I get to see him at conferences together. And he turned me on to Machu Picchu and the pyramids and the Sphinx and all those things. And there was a strong link between the sites and the traditions underlying those sites, those spiritual principles. And they all speak to our divinity and our humanness and what we're capable of and what's possible, what we've known in the past that maybe we've forgotten, or what we're learning now that we've never known about ourselves. at least in recorded history. So it all comes together, I think, in a really beautiful way. And it's not separate from. I don't see what I do as separate from what I am. And the trauma from those experiences is something it still shows up, and it's still, there's still a healing process that's going on. One of the aspects of trauma, every experience, every emotion that we have creates a chemical in our body. There's a chemical equivalent for every emotion, and it's called a neuropeptide, is what it is. And when we have joyous experiences, those neuropeptides metabolize and they flow right out of the body, no problem, which is what they're designed to do. When we have experiences that we don't have the tools to address, if you're 3 years old or 5 years old and you're in an abusive family, you don't have the tools at 5 years old, but you still have those chemicals in your body. So our bodies are so smart. What happens is, I'll just paraphrase, the body says, oh, you don't have the tools right now, so we're going to store this chemical for you. We're going to park it in a place in the body, and usually the chemical is parked in the organ or the tissue associated with the trauma. So if it is around a lot of hurt and suffering, it might be in the heart. Sexual trauma is around sexual organs. Women, it can be breast, uterus, men, prostate issues, but you don't know this consciously. So your body says, we're going to park these neuropeptides until you have the tools to heal and metabolize. And the body doesn't know the difference between an hour after the trauma and 60 years after the trauma. It's all there. And this is why, if we don't address those traumas, then they can become inflammation in those organs, just to get our attention. And if the inflammation is not acknowledged, then it can become what we call disease. All in an effort, it's a very different way of looking at the body, but all in an effort of recognizing this dialogue, this conversation. We're in constant dialogue with our bodies if we have the wisdom to know what our bodies are saying. And what the science is showing is rarely are our bodies ever broken. What we see as disease is our bodies in the presence of what we've given the body to work with. So when you begin to think from that perspective, then healing takes on a whole new meaning. It's one of the reasons breath work is so powerful. Breath work is a powerful lubricant for those neuropeptides. Heart-brain coherence. When you can create the coherence, then the experience is present without the rightness or the wrongness or the goodness or the badness or the guilt or the worthiness or the not worthiness of the brain. And that shift is enough to free those neuropeptides and allow them to metabolize in the body. And how you know they're metabolizing is they'll typically metabolize through body fluids. So you might feel like have a metallic taste in your mouth. Literally are trace metals metabolizing out of the, when you work with breath work and you work with other people and you're close enough to them, their breath will smell like metal, smell like a tin can. And that's one of the reasons your pee will smell funny. You'll pass these through, the urine will smell funny right after a breath work session. Tears, perspiration, any kind of body fluids is how these neuropeptides will metabolize through the body. And I'm saying this because it's an ongoing healing. It's an ongoing process. So, and it's something that we all have access to. And heart-brain coherence that I described is one of the very powerful tools that will take us to those deeper levels of healing when we're ready to go there. Does that make sense if I say it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to talk about this.
Stress is a significant factor that can deeply impact how we live our daily lives, often influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and overall well-being. When unmanaged, stress can lead to negative effects beyond immediate discomfort. Chronic stress can diminish our ability to think, make effective decisions, and maintain healthy relationships. Over time, if not addressed, it can manifest in physical ailments such as digestive issues, insomnia, headaches, and muscle tension. Additionally, prolonged stress can contribute to mental health challenges like anxiety, depression, and burnout, ultimately hindering personal growth and career success. When we allow stress to persist without transformation, it can become a barrier to achieving our goals and fully embracing life's opportunities. However, transformation is the key to managing stress and its long-term effects. Embracing change, whether through altering one's mindset, adopting healthier lifestyle habits, or practicing mindfulness techniques, enables individuals to reframe their relationship with stress. Transformation is about gaining the tools and insight to recognize stress before it overwhelms and then applying effective strategies to release it. Practices like deep breathing, meditation, regular exercise, and establishing boundaries are examples of transformational methods that empower individuals to break free from stress's grip. By focusing on transformation, we not only cope with stress more effectively, but we begin to use it to drive forward momentum in our lives. As we learn to manage stress through intentional practices and mindset shifts, we build a foundation for success and well-being that lasts a lifetime. If you found this message compelling and enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with others, subscribe to our channel, and turn on post notifications for more thought-provoking content. Thanks for watching.